There's something about Silent Hill that sticks with you, not just because it's creepy or disturbing, but because it gets under your skin in a very real, very human way. It doesn't just throw monsters at you and call it horror. No, Silent Hill is about you. Your trauma, your regrets, your fears. It's not horror for the sake of horror. It's psychological horror, and that's a very different, much deeper kind of experience.
I don't get it.
What makes the Silent Hill series so fascinating isn't just its terrifying atmosphere or surreal monsters, but how it uses them to explore the human psyche. At its core, Silent Hill is a mirror, one that reflects your darkest truths back at you. Each character who enters the town brings something broken inside them, and the town reshapes itself to reflect that brokenness. The monsters, the environments, even the sounds, all of it is a manifestation of what's going on inside the character's mind. Let's start with the original Silent Hill. On the surface, it's about a man named Harry Mason searching for his missing daughter. But beneath that, it's really about fear, specifically the fear of parenthood, of loss, and of the unknown. Harry is just an ordinary guy thrown into a nightmare he can't understand. His journey represents the helplessness of a parent who can't protect their child. And the child Cheryl is tied to a supernatural being named Alessa, who was burned and abused by a cult. Alessa's trauma warps reality, showing us how unresolved pain can spill out into the world in horrifying ways. Then there's Silent Hill 2, the crown jewel of the franchise, and arguably one of the best examples of psychological storytelling in any medium. You play as James Sunderland, a man who receives a letter from his dead wife calling him back to Silent Hill. What unfolds is a slow, painful unraveling of the truth, that James himself killed her. He suffocated her out of mercy during a long illness.
I killed her.
But buried that truth so deep he barely remembers doing it.
Mary?
I'll never let you have your Mary back.
The town doesn't let him forget. It creates monsters that embody his guilt and repressed desires. The infamous Pyramid Head, for example, isn't just a cool-looking enemy. He's a symbol of James's need for punishment. The sexualized nurses, they're projections of his repressed lust and shame. Everything in this world is James confronting himself, whether he realizes it or not. And that's what makes it powerful. It's not just about being chased, it's about facing what you've been running from internally. While Silent Hill 2 focused on guilt and grief, Silent Hill 3 and 4 shift toward themes like inherited trauma, loss of control, spiritual manipulation, and social alienation.
The one who will lead us to paradise with blood-stained hands.
At its heart, Silent Hill 3 is about forced identity, the trauma of growing up in the shadow of someone else's pain, and the feeling of having your body and future dictated by others, especially relevant to issues of womanhood and bodily autonomy. You play as a character named Heather. She is haunted, literally, by forces trying to use her as a vessel to birth a god. That horror isn't just religious or mystical. It's a visceral metaphor for unwanted pregnancy, loss of control over your destiny, and the trauma of abuse being passed down from generation to generation.
When did you stop believing in God?
Like in the previous Silent Hill games, the nurses appear again, but this time they feel less sexual and more about medical horror. Needles, flesh, the horror of being operated on. Closers, those giant mouth-armed creatures, are abstract, monstrous representations of repressed rage or even perverse maternal symbols, a twisted image of a female figure threatening Heather's identity. Together, these monsters form a web of female body horror, underscoring Heather's core fear. What is happening to me, and do I even have a choice? Now, Silent Hill 4: The Room took a unique approach. You're not even in Silent Hill, technically. You're trapped in a seemingly normal apartment, but that's where things get interesting. You play as Henry Townsend, a quiet, passive man locked in his own home with no way to escape. He watches strange events unfold through peepholes and discovers portals that lead to disturbing, alternate dimensions. Thematically, Silent Hill 4 is about isolation, detachment from society, and the feeling of being a prisoner in your own life. Henry is us, watching life pass by through windows and screens, disconnected from meaning, unable to act. It's an eerie prelude to the way modern life feels for many today. But the real heart of this game lies in its antagonist, Walter Sullivan, a cultist who was spiritually and emotionally broken from a young age. He was abandoned in room 302 as a child, treated like an object by the order, and ultimately lost all grip on reality. His serial killings and spiritual rituals are twisted cries for connection, to be reunited with his mother, who is symbolized by the apartment itself. That's what makes Silent Hill timeless. It's not just scary, it's human, it's vulnerable. And it reminds us that the real monsters don't always live in the dark. Sometimes they live in us. The world design reinforces all of this. The fog that covers the town isn't just spooky, it's symbolic of the confusion and blindness that comes with denial. The static on your radio? Constant anxiety. Your body knows something's wrong, even if your mind hasn't caught up. The endless looping corridors and streets, that's what it feels like to be trapped in your own head. And then there's the other world, the rusted, blood-stained nightmare version of reality that creeps in when things get really bad. That's what it looks like when trauma completely takes over. What's so remarkable is that these aren't just horror tropes. They're metaphors for depression, PTSD, guilt, loss, and fear of the self. And they're handled with an honesty you rarely see in games. Where most horror games scream, "Run for your life," Silent Hill whispers, "Look at yourself." And that's why people still talk about it after all these years. Because even if you're not in a literal nightmare world, you are going through something. We all are. And maybe Silent Hill doesn't offer solutions, but it gives shape to the struggle. It says you're not the only one wrestling with something you can't quite explain.